order. We appreciate all of you that are here this morning. If you will, please stand for our invocation, and we'll ask Mr. Kuykendall to lead us in our pledge. Kind Heavenly Father, we thank you today for all the blessings that's been ours to enjoy as undeserving creatures as we are. We recognize that you know all things, and we commit that to our thinking and to thy hand. We trust, Lord, that you would bless each one that is here. Help us all that we could look unto thee for wisdom and for guidance, and trust that we could understand that thou workest all things after the counsel of thine own divine and sovereign will. We would ask, Father, to bless those who have been involved in the tragedies of late. Bless our land and country. Help us, Father, that we could have those in places of authority that could look unto thee, who is the author and finisher of our faith. This that we ask for this land, we ask for all of thy people, wherever they may be. Lead, guide, and direct us, accept thy thanks for the blessings of this day. And again, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Please place the flag. Attention, salute, and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated, please. Again, we thank you for your presence this morning. The first item of business on our agenda is to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Gentlemen, if you've had time to read them and if there's any change that needs to be made, please make that known at this time. If not, I'll solicit the motion that we approve them as you receive them. So your second? Second. Motion second. Any discussion? In his favor, let me know by saying aye. Anyone opposed, state your objection. Thank you. Next item, the road department. Mr. Broyles, maintenance up there.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
I'll give you just a real quick update. We apparently have skated by on a tropical storm. We didn't receive very much damage at all. We had a few trees down and just some minor washes, but not anything serious at all. I think the rain fell at a slow enough pace that kept us from having any flood issues. So I'm glad to report that to you today. We are hauling chert. We've been working up in District 1 on some roads. We're out north of DeSoto Park right now working on a road. We're going to be moving on up into the Mentone area, and then from there on to Ider. We'll probably be hauling, weather allows, still for several weeks, maybe up into District 1, try to get them caught back up. Maybe the other districts are way ahead of them on the amount we've been able to haul to them this year, so I'd like to continue on with that. Still have a couple of crews that are finishing up their last round on their mowing, and we're still working on our second round on the herbicide application, but hopefully it seems to be moving along fairly well, so maybe we can get those things finished up in the next couple of weeks. So it's about all I have for you in the way of an update. If you have any questions, I'll answer those.
Go ahead with the equipment purchase.
We talked last week, last meeting, I mentioned to you about the need to upgrade some equipment. We have a track hoe excavator in the chert pit that we've been digging and moving chert with. We bought it in '07. And this thing's really showing its age, and it's to the point it's going to require quite a bit of money to be spent on it if we continue to run it. And the thing's not really worth very much. If it was just in real good shape, the thing probably wouldn't bring but about $50,000. And condition it's in now, even if we do spend some money on it, you're probably looking at a $35,000 to possibly $45,000 machine is about what it's going to sell for. They just don't have a good resale value on them. You can't do those like we do our dump trucks. So I wish we could, but we can't. But I'd like to go ahead, if we could, and upgrade this. We'd be purchasing a replacement machine. It'd be a Caterpillar 324. We'd be buying it off the NJPA bid. Bid price is going to be about $296,000.
Gentlemen, you hear Mr. Broyles' recommendation. What's the determination of the question concerning the recommendation?
I would say that seeing as how important it is for us to be able to haul church, and the fact that in the foreseeable future with the lack of funds from the state legislature, we're gonna have to haul more and more church. And I think this would be an important piece of equipment to make sure when we are able to work, that we can be working. So once you divide this purchase price over the number of loads of church that we should be able to haul out with it for the next 10 years, it's really a minimal expense. Matt, do you feel that the budget, we have enough in the budget to make this purchase?
I do.
I'll make a motion, we go ahead and bid out this.
Thank you, Mr. Woodman. Do you hear a second?
Second.
Motion second, any questions? Not as many as fair play, don't say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, state your objection. Thank you. Motion
So
carries.
this will be purchased off of NJPA. It's an existing bid. All we'll have to do is issue a purchase order number and order it. I think the vendor probably has one in stock right now, so. And I mentioned this too, I got this quote with 2 buckets. We have to hard surface these buckets. If you don't, they'll last about a year and a half, and you'll be replacing them. So we need 2 really where we can swap it out when one gets down and it needs to be hard surfaced. It takes, normally, you're looking at about a week, and maybe 3 days if you could just leave a man on that and him not do anything else for 3 days. He could do the hard surface work, but we're not able to do that because we don't have the employees in the shop anymore to be able to do that. So this extra bucket, I think, is probably going to be about $10,000, but I still believe it'd be wise to go ahead and purchase this because it would allow us to just switch it out, which would take about an hour, continue on loading instead of it sitting down for 3 days or 5 or 6 days. So I'd like to go ahead and do that.
You want to incorporate that in your?
I will.
Yeah, that's included in this.
That's included in
It's
what you?
already included in that
Thank you.
quote. So, we talked about some other things. At some point in time, we're going to need to look at maybe another storage tank for liquid asphalt. We bought this property between Henniger and Ider, and that's an ideal location to locate one. We don't have to take action on it today, but at some point in time, pretty soon, I think we're going to need to because the demand on these patch trucks is more and more every day. And when they're working around Henniger and Ider and north of that, they have to come back at lunch to Fort Payne to reload, and they lose about 2 hours. It's just barely justifiable to do that. But if we had a tank up there and a place to store some gravel, then they could have a pretty quick turnaround on their second load. So those tanks, depending on what we get, you're looking at somewhere around $80,000 to $100,000 on that. So, but if you'd like for me to try to get some firm quotes, excuse me, or whatever your pleasure is on it. We don't have a place fixed right today to put it anyway, but at some time in the near future, we're going to need to be looking at this, I think. So.
It'll be all right, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Broad will ask to get some firm quotes, and I know we're going to have that place in here ready.
Yeah, it'll something that'll have to be bid, I'm sure. I don't know that there's a bid in place to buy these things. I'll check into that.
I don't think there is on our bid list,
Well,
on ACCA bid list.
yeah, I don't think there is on
There is
that, but
not.
there possibly could be on the NJPA or NIPA bid. They could have something like this, but I'll check into the possibility of that. And I'll let you know something a little more at the next meeting then. So
That'll be fine, thanks.
that's all I have for you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Broad.
Thank you.
Damage claim, Mr. Sharp.
We have one damage claim from Jim Hargrave, County Road 89, near Soda State Park. There was a truck that came back and caused some damage to the vehicle. I would like to send this to Meadowbrook for final disposition.
Any questions concerning the recommendation? If not, I'll hear a motion that we forward it to insurance carrier.
Motion forward, insurance.
Your second.
Second.
Motion second, in discussion. Minutes favor, let me know by saying aye. Anyone opposed, state your objection. Thank you, motion carried. Before we go on to the next item on the agenda, I just do want to let you know that 2 or 3 days ago, the chairman of the county commission, and who is also a probate judge, they're like that in 16 counties in Alabama, but Mr. Kirk Day suffered a heart attack, and he had been in critical condition and passed away this morning. That's Chairman Day over Cherokee County, passed away this morning. So we want to send our sympathies to Mr. Day, his family, and we'll be letting you know the arrangements concerning his funeral time. So he's a great friend to me, and I was just talking with him the other day. We've served on a lot of things together when I was president of the association, and still do for that matter. And he was talking the other day to me less than a week ago just about the stress that was involved. And so anyway, I don't know what precipitated this problem he had, but anyway, he was a great fellow and a West Point graduate, and you just never know. He's 50 years old, somewhere around in that area. So 46. So he wasn't as old as I thought he was. When you get my age, everybody's older. Anyway, we thank you for your remembering him. Thank you, Scott, for making me aware of that. Appreciate it. Sheriff's Office personnel, Mr. Edmonds.
Good morning. Morning. We would like to ask that you hire Melody Cockendall to replace Tiffany Barksdale as a full-time corrections officer.
Have you got several?
Yes, the other ones are promotions, yes, sir.
Okay, let's do it all at one
Okay.
time.
We would like to promote Sebastian Gomez, Jordan McGinnis, and Wilson Cockendall, and adjust their pay rates to a 6A. They're replacing sergeants in the jail. They're replacing Mr. Monroe, Mr. Wright, and Leslie Francisco.
Okay, is that all on?
That's it.
Gentlemen, you had all that in your package. Any questions concerning that? Anything, anybody? So here, a motion, then we honor the request.
So moved.
Your second. Motion second, any discussion?
Yes, let it be noted that I will abstain from the vote on this because of the family relationship to both parties.
Thank you, Mr. Cockendall. Let the record so state. Any other questions? As many as favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, state your objection. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edmonds.
Thank you.
Engineer Tranquil, Mr. Blue.
Morning. Just ask permission to attend the CGEI Legislative and Governmental Relations class. It will be held November the 1st and 2nd in Prattville. This is for continuing education and credits for my county engineers administrator certification through the ACCA.
Thank you, Mr. Blue. Any questions concerning the request?
Make a motion to approve.
Your second? Second. Motion second, any discussion? As many as favor, let me know by saying aye. Anyone opposed, state your objection. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blue. Public transportation resolution, every year we have to, the Council on the Aging has to have a resolution from the commission about their transportation program, and I just asked the commission for reauthorization for me and Mr. Sharp to sign these documents. Is there any question about it? I'll ask for a motion. Gentlemen, if I can have that.
So moved.
Your second?
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Minutes favor, let me know by saying aye. Anyone opposed, state your objection. Thank you very much. Cab Ambulance Service Resignation Appointment, Mr. Westbrook.
It was brought to my attention about 2 weeks ago that the DeKalb Ambulance had a board member in my district that turned in his resignation. I'd like to make a motion to accept his resignation.
Let's go ahead with this for the appointment.
Okay. All right. In this same motion, I'm going to recommend that we appoint Mr. Jason Bryan as the board member to replace Mr. Drake Cook.
Here, Mr. Westbrook's request. Do I hear a second to it?
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Minutes favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The record so stated is unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Westbrook. The sixth item is DeKalb Library Board appointment. Mr. Hubert Tumlin and Ms. Judith Hamlin's time is term is coming to a close, and the board has asked and that they be reappointed to the positions that they're in. They've graciously accepted the recommendation that they would continue to serve. They do a good job, and if there is no objection to that, then I would ask that we accept the library board's recommendation. Is there a second? Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second? Second. Motion second. Any discussions? Any in favor, let me know by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, state your objection. Thank you. At this time, we have Mr. Barry Wiseman with us. He is doing a lighting project, the city of Rainsville, and for a lot of places over the United States. Mr. Wiseman's from Rainsville, Alabama. He doesn't live here now, but we have an antiquated system that cost us a lot of money over the years and still costs us a lot of money. And Mr. Wiseman, me and Mr. Jackson attended a presentation that made the city of Rainsville. They're going to take part in this program. The DeKalb County School Board is receiving a proposal just very shortly. And Mr. Wiseman, we appreciate you being here today. And if you could give us a brief overview of the involvement that it would take for us to come into this program, and keep in mind that what cities do is far cry from what we can do sometimes. The smallest city in the state has more authority than the largest county. So anyway, just with that in mind, why give us an overview of your program where these gentlemen that don't know about it can consider it, and then get with you and let you inform them in more detail about it. Thank you for being here.
I thank you very much for this opportunity to be before each and every one of you. I think, except for Mr. Mooney, everyone has received an email from me concerning a presentation on LED lighting and a filter that goes into the panels. This business model was put together this last early fall in 2016. And I got invited to represent Every Watt Matters, a company from Vancouver, Washington, to do cities, states, and counties. And I wanted to do my hometown first. I wanted to do my home county first. I went to Rainsville and did this because President Ricky Hartcrow and DeWitt Jackson, very handy in their schedules, would allow them. They came in March of this year. And we did the presentation. And as of this week, we will finish installing, and they will have everything upgraded in their panels and in their lights. And what we do, this model set up, we'll come in and do an audit that costs the county nothing. We come in and it's an audit, you just say, you vote and say, do your audit. We're going to come in, we're going to go to every building, we're going to go to every light, we're going to measure the building diameters, we're going to take pictures of the light fixtures, the lights, and make sure that the lights we replace are going to be as good or better. The lights, like in this room right here, will have probably more lumens, which will be a little bit brighter, but will be 10-watt light bulbs. That's the most modern that's out there. Nobody else. The closest LED lights, commercial lights, right now is 15 watts. Also, we make it with a 10-year driver. So you're going to have at least 10 years or better. The business model we put here, we have 3 ways of doing business with you. We can do a direct cash purchase, which we come in after we've done the audit. You look at it and you see how much money you're going to save. If you have the money and you want to write a down payment, we come in, we start the job. When it's finished, you pay it in total. If you want to let us finance it, I've been given a large amount of money to finance cities, counties, and states. And we can do the financing at a very good rate. And we take a percentage of what you will save makes your payment. And typically you're going to see anywhere from 2 to 3.5 years it'll take to pay this off. And then we also offer another way, it's called lighting as a service, where we can extend it out anywhere from 5 to up to 20 years, where you don't even put it on the books as a loan to pay for this. It just goes in, you pay, we're going to provide all the lights and everything for however long you want this contract to be, and that's even less a percentage of what you save. We offer 3 different ways. That's basically it, what I would be looking for. I'd like to meet with Mr. Wooden, Mr. Westbrook, and Mr. Kuykendall. I haven't met with you guys. I'd like to meet with you as soon as I can to answer any questions you have. There's a whole lot to this, I guess, and you have quite a few questions. I've already done that with Ricky Hartgrove and with DeWitt Jackson. One other thing I'd like to mention about this, I had Congressman Adderholt, some staff members of his go back. I've been involved with projects, this filter since 2009, and things have changed a little bit since then up in DC, but what I asked them to do was research what this would do in this upgrade concerning green buildings. I wanted to be able to make green cities, green counties, green states with doing this. In 2009, there was one thing you could do was cut your power consumption by 5%. And in that meeting, the presentation that you both attended, the staff member from Congressman Adderholt's office said that is now 7.5%. We know that we're going to save the city of Rainsville in excess of 25% on their power savings when we finish. So this is going to make them eligible for, once you do this, this makes you eligible for a lot of federal grants to do infrastructure projects. So I look forward to the time. I will be back next week. I shared with Ricky Hartgrove this morning. I've got 3 counties in Virginia: Mecklenburg County, St. Charles County, my apologies, and Sussex County.
They're fine for that.
Just do that. But if it'll work out in your schedule, I will be back here next week. The county schools asked me to come in and meet with them this past Tuesday, and I did. They've asked me to come back this Thursday, and I'll be doing a presentation to upgrade all the schools to LED lights and put these filters in them. And so if I could, I'd like to, can I approach the commission and just leave my business card with these guys?
Mr. White, if I'm right, you made the city for paying too, is that correct?
I met with Larry Chester this last week. Yes, sir.
Okay.
We talked to him about some of the upgrades they've done and then how to take them forward too.
Okay. Gentlemen, any questions for Mr. Widener? Takes the seat, any questions?
Do you have a commitment after the meeting? Do you have a commitment after this meeting?
Do you?
I heard him.
Oh, okay.
I can delay that.
You can. I'd like to meet with you this afternoon. Well, just after the meeting for a few questions.
What time?
As soon as the meeting's over.
Okay, that'll be fine. I'll just stay here and I'll be available for you.
Thank you, Mr. Widener. We
Yes, sir.
appreciate it.
Thank you for the time to be before you this honor.
Yes, sir. Of course, much of our system is old, and some of it has been remodeled, and a lot of it has not. But anyway, being from the power side of things, I can understand how much of that works, but we thank you for your presence here today, and thank you for your help and your ideas, and these gentlemen will be glad to meet with you as y'all can schedule your appointments. That concludes our agenda for today. Appreciate you expediting as quick as you did. Our next meeting will be October the 24th here in the chambers. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Being without objection, so ordered. Thank you.